What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Filip Latocha, and today we're going to be discussing my post-Chicago Marathon recovery and how it's going, in addition to the 10K races that I have coming up and how training and what type of workouts I have scheduled for myself are going to help in potentially winning some of these races, depending on, weather and all of those factors considered, as well as this frog I've got in my throat. But before we get into it, make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel if you're already a subscriber and watching this content. Thanks so much. Love you guys a lot. Let's begin. So, post-Chicago Marathon, obviously, like some of you have probably already seen some stuff, and I've gotten a lot of feedback from people, mostly positive feedback, in terms of things I've been getting through after the marathon, which of course is some people take an extended break from running after that. But this is usually the time where I start picking up more speed workouts, and I slightly stay away from like the longer runs because I'm getting back into like a mid-distance to slightly long-distance fitness. And what I mean, of course, is historically for the last 4 to 5 years that I've been doing this kind of routine in my racing. The Chicago Marathon usually is like the A race, and then usually my endurance kind of goes down from that point, but my speed continues to get a little bit better. And the reason I aim for that is because we got things like the hot chocolate race, we've got a Polish Independence 10K race, a turkey trot, a few turkey trots actually, and then some other things during the winter season that I want to prep for. And that's been historically the trend. Obviously, there's a few changes to this race plan, one of which is I'm not doing the hot chocolate in Chicago on November 7th. Instead, I'm doing it in Houston in late January, I believe it is. And the reason for that is because I double booked a race for myself, and I'm not too confident that I can, do awesome and break like a sub-hour in the hot chocolate race and win the Polish Independence 10K race in the same day. Not trying to risk that, and I just don't want to, bonk both races because I was feeling extra spicy or whatever. So that's kind of the move right now. And some of the feedback, of course, I've gotten from some people who are probably watching this video or have followed me on Strava is like to slow down all my easy runs, especially right now. And that's been really good advice thus far. It's given me an excuse to run in like the 1080 version 11s. It's been a good excuse to experiment with different shoes to run at like 7:45, 8-minute per mile pace. Also a great excuse to like basically run with my cell phone, because usually I don't take that with me anywhere. I only have like the Apple Watch, no cellular, just GPS, and like my headphones, and I just have a good time that way. But now I can like, get one of those pouches and just like put it in the pouch, and I just go for a run, take some pictures. It's pretty cool, I would say. So that's a good excuse as well, and just a good chance to explore and just take the whole thing easy. So then when you're done with that run, you're like, oh, sweet. Cool, I got a lot of energy left over from this. And this is going to be important when we start talking about the 10K race plan. You'll see once we get there. And of course, I got some new swag. I got this Menards t-shirt. So, Menards, if you're watching this video, I'm going to tell you we look pretty good together. Why don't we just seal the deal? I'm looking for a sponsor. Hit me up with like a fat, spicy DM in, my Instagram. We'll talk there. But okay, that's not the point. So, what else? I'm sick right now, too. That's kind of the weird thing. No, I don't have the coof. Like, if I had the coof, I wouldn't be, like, sneezing or anything like that. Just the common cold. So, that's just kind of been, wrench thrown into the machine for me here. Just kind of recovering from that. Today's a little bit better, but under one really important factor as to why I'm feeling better is because I took, like, a NyQuil, or actually, no, it was a DayQuil equivalent when I was going to bed. And obviously the thing here is like acetaminophen is basically a painkiller, and anytime you do a workout when you're like effectively drugged up, you have to be really careful because you're not going to feel really sore when you're running or lifting weights because acetaminophen is just making you feel good. So you got to be very careful. That's all I'm saying. And like I knew that moving into my workout, which I'll talk about in just a second here, but yeah, I just kind of toned it back, and it was one of my key workouts for this 10K training race plan thing. And yeah, basically that's kind of the gist of it. So basically, after the Chicago Marathon, I'm in relatively good spirits, I would say. There's a lot of things going on in the background. I've been partying a little bit more often, which is obviously a good thing. It's always great to reconnect with people, talk to people that I used to be coworkers with. People that I usually hang out with like every so often. We just hang out multiple days in a row until we're all sick of each other. It's a blast. It's fun. So always enjoy those small moments in life. even though, you know, the majority of my life is like running, cybersecurity, music, and things like that, do something spontaneous. Have some fun once in a while, especially when like your A race is done and over with. And yeah, even though I'm still like focusing on this 10K race, like there's room to kind of relax here, you know, there's not too much pressure. So, okay, we got this whole intro thing kind of figured out, and we're like, what, 6 minutes in? Anyways, cool, yeah. So let's talk about my 10K racing plans. So as I mentioned probably in my previous video update, the plan so far has been that I want to do the Polish Independence 10K race in Chicago, and I want to win the entire race. Now, what does it take to win this race? Well, historically, I've seen that the athletes on the elite side that compete are usually running something around 5 to 5:30 minute per mile pace when they're doing this race. I don't know if they're in the country right now because of travel restrictions. They might be, but that's not like what I'm thinking about. The idea here is to get as close as possible to being able to sustain something at a 5:30 minute per mile pace just to have a fighting chance to keep up with those groups. So far, the name of the game, again, after the Chicago Marathon is to build that speed back up. So yeah, maybe I'm reducing a little bit of my endurance work, so I'm not doing like super long runs that are slow and whatnot, but I will have easy runs that are slow. The idea is to have faster runs, and even though we're not doing that endurance work, the endurance is kind of remaining stable. It's not, you know, basically diminishing because I'm not running, I'm just running a little bit faster, and we're trying to increase the heart rate over time to sustain harder running at a higher heart rate than normal. And so far the results are good. Where I was normally running like a 150 to 160 heart rate normally during like this endurance season, I can now break about 170, 172 at a threshold level, not necessarily at like max, but like I can get my heart rate high when I need it to, and that's a good sign when I'm trying to go fast. So this has kind of been the plan as of right now with the training plan, is to have some two-a-days in there because most of my work is not long distance, and I have a little bit more time and leeway with like work and all my things considered to allow for this. So last week, for example, I think it was like 3 days where I was running two-a-days, and then on certain days when I had the hard key session, which I'll tell you what my key sessions essentially look like on paper, the second run of that day would be a shorter, easy run at a pace that would be about 7:45 to like 8:15, 8:30. And if I could go slower without getting bored, that would be the pace I would try to go to. Because I know like running a 9-minute mile seems like a really rational thing to do. But again, it's all mind work with me on that front. I guess the word I'm looking for is mental. It's mental work for me to be able to like run a 9-minute mile, feel how that feels again, like with legs that are semi-tired but semi-fresh as well, and just embrace it. Just enjoy running that pace and just be like, all right, cool, this is like going to help me in the long run, pun intended, and this is what we need to do. So sometimes I'll like run really slow, really comfortably, my heart rate won't be high, and I'm running like 7:45, 8 minute per mile pace, and I'll just stick with it, and like I'll just go all day long or all night long, whatever it is, running, and it feels good. So that's kind of the idea here, just enjoy those easy runs. So keep the easy runs easy. That's the most important thing. Now, in terms of the key sessions I have in this 10K training plan, I've done a few of these right now, but as we're getting closer to race day, I have to slightly pull back from the big hard days and kind of move into like some track speed days. So these are some of the sessions I've done already before. So the idea is I would do like, well, one of the sessions that's written out versus what I've done is that I'm doing 2 miles easy, and then I do a 2x2 mile hard session, which would be either a threshold or like race pace, just to experiment with those mile intervals to essentially just kind of play, again, this idea of the negative split. Because, again, these key workouts are designed to either help you have a consistent speed all the way across or work towards building a negative split. Because if you're working towards a positive split, like, you can just do that anytime. That's like uncontrolled racing. Most people, I think, actually end up racing that way if they're not conscious of it. And I'm definitely guilty of this. But the point is, most of these training workouts right now are designed to kind of keep you easy at the beginning of them and then start putting in some harder efforts towards the end. So that's one of the big ones, where it's like 2 miles easy and then you do the 2x2 miles at a harder pace. So about halfway through that workout, now you're kicking in, you know, your pedal to the metal on some of those miles. Another one that's, again, one of these consistent sessions, which I'm still kind of working into, is the 6x1 miles at a tempo to threshold pace. So, again, the point is to kind of simulate the feeling of being at the 10K race line and just trying to keep a consistent pace all the way across. And now, again, you can obviously mesh and mold this the way you want it to, whether you want to do a pyramid where, you know, you have your fastest, you know, peak miles in the center of the workout by the 5K mark, and then you just kind of wean off. I don't necessarily see the benefit of that versus turning that into a negative split all the way across or just keeping it consistent. That's just me. Another session here that's also kind of important is the 3x2 mile. So again, same concept. You keep the first 2 miles easy, the second 2 mile set in there at a moderate pace, and then the last 2 miles you just kind of give it everything you got. That's probably the perfect negative split workout in this mix. And then one of the ones that I've added into this thing, actually 2 of them, is that we would do the 2x5K at a first easy pace and then at a tempo threshold pace for the second set. Same concept as the workout I was discussing before. You just want the second 5K to be a lot faster than the first. And then this other one that I've implemented is more of like a track workout kind of thing, but again, it's really contingent to like how you want to mesh with it. But you would just basically do like 4x1 miles at like a tempo to threshold effort, and then you would do some kind of 800-meter splits all the way up until you hit the 6-mile mark in that particular workout. So if I'm doing my math right, if we're doing 4x1 miles, that means we need to do 4x800 to hit the 6-mile mark, and then you would have some kind of quarter-mile burnout, or if you have a warm-up and a warm-down, that's going to give you the last few Ks to get you to 10K. So that's kind of the key sessions I'm working with right now to get into the speed of things. And even if I can't hit the speed that I want, at least the sessions are getting thrown in, and that's all I can ask for. It's just to make sure that work is being done so I'm at least prepped for this 10K when the time comes. So that's essentially what I'm working with at this point, and I'm kind of excited for this race. Again, maybe I'm a little bit nervous as well because I do want to win this race, and I wish I had a little bit more time post Chicago Marathon. I wish I wasn't sick, so I don't have to like hold back during my hard sessions necessarily. But it is what it is. You just live with it. You just continue with it, and this is just how the running world basically works. So I'll be probably okay within like the next 1 to 2 days, but then those hard sessions need to be like perfect. You know, I got to be pristine with them. So yeah, that's going to be all in due time. Anyways, I think I'm going to wrap up the video here about the training plan discussions. But if you guys have any cool 10K training tips or any track workouts you guys do in particular, let me know in the comments below. I'd love to hear what you guys do in preparation for some races that are on the track, on the road, your taper styles. You know, let me know for sure. I'm all ears for it. This is just what I do, but I'm excited to see what you guys do as well. So again, if you guys like the video, like it, subscribe to the channel if you like this channel and want to follow along with the race progress. And I think that's all I've got for now. So thanks for watching this video. I'll see you guys in the next one.